I'm afraid I like men. I'm afraid I'm going to hurt my child. I'm afraid God is going to take the people I care about away from me. I keep thinking about hurting myself. I keep doing compulsions that don't make any sense, but I can't seem to stop. I can't stop picturing myself doing horrible, violent things to the people I love. I was doing the same things you're doing. I would think about disturbing things I might do or things that might happen and obsessively reassure myself that I would never do them. I would picture horrible, violent things happening to my family members and ruminate every day, convincing myself that these things would never happen. But nothing I did ever helped. No matter how many times I tried to reassure myself, or plan, or check any of my terrible thoughts, they kept coming back stronger than before. Every day, I was spending more and more time doing this, and no matter what conclusion I came to, the thoughts kept coming over and over. The time I was spending with my family was getting tainted because I kept imagining horrible things about them, and I felt so guilty that I would think of these things, and scared that they might happen. Every day felt like I was being tormented by my own head. I just couldn't stop. I was obsessed with these thoughts, and I felt compelled to do something about them, even though I knew they were absurd. But I don't do that anymore. Before I learned what worked for me, I was referred to a psychologist to help me with my OCD. She gave me antidepressants and did exposure and response prevention (ERP) therapy with me. It helped a bit, but I never fully got better. ERP is a treatment for OCD where you gradually expose yourself to fears without doing a compulsion and eventually learn that even if you don't do your compulsion, your fear won't affect you. At least that's the theory. ERP didn't work for me because I already knew that my compulsions didn't stop the fears from coming true. I would keep exposing myself to the thought of hurting the people I love, and I didn't feel any less anxious over time. I would keep reassuring myself, ruminating, about ways to make these terrible things less likely to happen. I exposed myself to my OCD thoughts and never felt better because I could never be okay with these things happening. They were too horrible. My life would be ruined. Everything that made me happy would be taken away. Exposing myself didn't change any of that. Let me give you an example. If I'm afraid I'm going to hit my partner over the head with a dinner plate, then I might avoid picking them up or start using paper plates instead. Those actions are compulsions in the form of avoidance. ERP might be helpful in this situation because I can slowly start to go near plates again, pick them up when my partner is not around, pick them up with my partner across the room, and eventually pick up the plate while standing next to them. This would help me realize that I wouldn't hit my partner over the head with the plate. However, if my fear was that I would eventually snap and hit my partner in the head with a plate, then doing ERP would likely not help. Even if I stand next to my partner with the plate and don't hit them, I would think to myself, I didn't do it this time, but what if I do it next time, or at some point? You can expose yourself hundreds of times, but the fear won't go away because you can never know if next time you would do it. Me doing ERP just felt like another compulsion. The fear never went away, and the questions I was asking myself just got more and more complex. The back and forth in my head of, yeah, but what about this, never seemed to end no matter how many exposures I did. I did this for so long, and eventually I couldn't take it anymore, and tried something else. I stopped engaging with the OCD thoughts altogether. I talk about how I did that in a different video, my step-by-step guide to end your OCD. Basically, I realized that nobody else around me who didn't have OCD was doing any of these compulsions. Nobody was playing out 1,000 scenarios or asking themselves questions that they knew didn't make any sense. The whole thing was a giant compulsion. Me asking these questions, me having the follow-up answers, me playing out 1,000 scenarios. But here's the thing. Everything I was doing was an active process. It wasn't automatic. It felt like it was automatic. But the only part that was automatic was the initial thought, the initial OCD fear. I was the one doing everything else. I was the one asking the questions. I was the one answering the questions. I was the one playing out scenario after scenario and then trying to debunk the fears I had. Then debunk the conclusion I came to in this endless cycle. Since I was the one doing it, it meant I was able to stop it. I couldn't stop the thoughts from coming into my head, but I could do something after they got there. I was the one who continued to engage with the thoughts after they arrived, which means I was able to stop doing that. I figured out how to do that. I want you to learn how to stop the second part. ERP as a treatment takes forever. Every time I get a new fear or a version of the original fear, I have to do ERP again from scratch. I wanted a method that would end my OCD, not have me continue having it as my pet for the rest of my life. I got better last year, but before that I was watching a lot of OCD content on YouTube. I noticed that on YouTube, there are a lot of people talking about how to treat OCD, but then they continue making OCD content. It seems like OCD content is just a new OCD compulsion, trying to make yourself feel better by learning more or seeking out more information from somebody else who thinks that they know how to cure this disease. I tried that. I went down that rabbit hole and watched every piece of content on OCD. It doesn't work. If it actually worked, then these people wouldn't have anyone watching their new videos. I don't want you to keep watching these OCD videos forever. I don't want you to keep watching my videos forever. I want you to learn how to solve this problem you have and never do it again and never have to watch these videos again. Because frankly, they're not interesting. My hope for this channel is to see a big boom of people starting to watch and then eventually no one watching anymore. Because that means no one is looking for reassurance anymore using these videos. What's great is now that I've learned what to do, even old obsessions that I had can't come back in again and bother me or affect my life because I know what to do. I know how to get them to stop bothering me and eventually go away. I know that I just have to stop engaging with them and then I won't be bothered. I feel freer than I ever have. Watch the step-by-step guide to end your OCD. If you're confused, watch the parts again and self-reflect to check what you're doing wrong. If you're still not getting it and still struggling, buy my course. You get 4 one-on-one coaching sessions where I'll go through your cycle with you and identify where you might be getting it wrong. The sessions are not timed, and you can take as long as you want, and you will definitely get your money's worth. You have the power to end your OCD. I hope this is the last OCD video you watch.